All right, let's move on to 1.3, number 26. So 1.3, number 26, which says let f of x equals 4x minus 12, and we want to graph both f of x and the inverse function f of minus 1 of x. So we'll graph both of these in a second. But we got to start out just by actually finding the inverse function first. So again, I go back to that step 1, step 2 analogy that we did before, which the first thing would be is to rewrite this as y equals 4x minus 12. And we want to solve for x. That's what step 1 is to solve for x. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So I get y plus 12 equals 4x. I'll divide this by 4 on each side, and that's going to give me, let's see, I'll just do it the easy way. X equals y plus 12 over 4. I'm going to put the whole thing over 4. So that gives me my basic, but then the last thing I got to do is I got to switch x and y. And actually that's kind of step 2 here, is we solve for x, and then we swap x and y. So now we get y equals x plus 12 divided by 4. And then we have one final step where we rewrite that as f of minus 1 of x equals x plus 12 divided by 4. So there's our inverse function. So then the next step would be, well, let's figure out how we're going to graph this thing. So I'm going to try to draw a nice graph here if I can. So there's a nice straight line. This will be my y-axis. And let me think here. I'm going to think most of them are going to be in this first quadrant. So this will be my x-axis. Okay. And then let's just maybe graph out to about 5 points or 6 points or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll go down one here and down one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I've got 6 points in each direction. And what I might do is I might say, let's just do a little graph here, x. We'll do an f of x, and we'll do an f of minus 1 of x. So even if you don't have your calculator, obviously you have a graphing calculator, this becomes kind of trivial at this point, and you just knock it out. If you don't have a graphing calculator, you may just want to try to do a couple of these and figure out what these lines are going to look like. I don't need to plot a ton of points here. I'm going to kind of just stay in quadrant 1 here and say, well, let's say 0. So f of x would be 0 times 4. 0 times 4 is 0. Minus 12 would be minus 12. All right, for f of x would be minus 12. I don't know if that works out real good. I'll try 1. 1 times 4 is 4. So that's okay. 1 times 4 is 4. Minus 12 is minus 8. Again, I want to get some numbers here that I can get on this plot. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 12 is minus 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 12 is 0. I'll go up to 4 now. These are getting better now. 4 times 4 is 16. Minus 12 is 4. And I'll do one more just because I can. 5 times 4 is 20 minus 12 is 8. So it's kind of going up by 8 on each one. And let's go down here and see what happens. If I go to 0 for, now I'm working with this function right here. Okay, so 0 plus 12 is 12. Divided by 4 is 3. And 1 plus 12 is 13. Divided by 4 is 13 fourths, and 2 plus 12 is 14, divided by 4 is 14 fourths, or better known as 7 halves. 3 plus 12 is 15. 15 divided by 4 is 15 fourths. 4 plus 12 is 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 5 plus 12 is 17. 17 divided by 4 is 17 fourths. All right, so there's some points here, and I don't need to have all of these points necessarily I'm going to see if I can, actually I'll stick with the colors here. So I'm going to make this my red points here, the f of x. So I only need a couple. These are lines, so I don't need to have a million points to get these. But I do need 3, 0. 3, 0 is one that I can find relatively easy. There's 0.30. So 3, x is 0, 3, and f of x is 0, or my y term. And then 4 is 4. So if x is 4, then y is 4. That takes me up to approximately right there. And if I draw this line, and this is going to be a horrible attempt at drawing a line here. Let me see if I can get something to draw it here. Oh geez, that was horrible. Let me do this one more time here. Pointer options. I want to get an eraser here. I always think I'm going to take my time and do it, and what I've found is it's actually just almost easier just to draw it quickly and go from there. So from there I'll draw down and down and down, and this red line then actually represents my f of x. Okay, then I'm going to maybe see if I can get a different color here. So pointer options, ink color, I'll go over to something different. I'll grab this blue here, something we'll see kind of bright. And I'm going to make this area my blue dots here. One thing you'll notice right off the bat is there is an intersection. There it is. There is an intersection at 4, 4. So this is also a point on f of minus 1 of x. So they actually intersect at that point. So that's kind of an interesting feature there. And trying to see if there's anything else. Oh, and then 0, 3. At x equals 0, y is equal to 3. So this particular line is going to go more like this, so on and so forth. And that blue dot's easy to lose there. This will be my f of minus 1 of x. So there you go. Now you found the inverse function, which is what we were looking for. And we've graphed both f of minus 1 of x and f of x on the same plot. I'll create a little key over here. So we can say this is equal to f of minus 1 of x. And then I'm going to grab a different color. And we'll go to pointer options, color. We'll find our red one again. And we'll say that the red is equal to f of x. So someone else looking at this graph can tell what's going on. That's 1.3, number 26.